And John 15:19. If you were of the world would love its own. Yet because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. And sometimes people may hate you because of your behavior. And I've known, and I'm sure I'm guilty of it at times as well, but I've certainly seen where people will pretend to be persecuted, but they're because of, they're a Christian when they're just being jerks. They're not they're not loving people. They're being hypocritical. They're receiving the just attitudes and behavior for the way they act. They're judgmental. They're hypocritical. They're self-righteous. They're fake. And we need to be careful with that as Christians. It's easy to fall into all those categories, and then somebody pushes back against how you're acting, and you're like, oh, persecution. Oh. And we need to be careful with that. I mean, it is for the Son of Man's sake. If people don't like you just because you're a jerk, there's no benefit to you for that at all. Just stop being a jerk, right? Just stop treating people poorly. But there are some times that you are doing what you can to love people. You're doing what you can to encourage people. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not harming people. And there will just be this friction, this resistance that is like, why don't they like me? What did I even do to them that they won't? And this is the spiritual battle going on. There's a spiritual battle that goes on. When you are living for Christ, when you're walking in His Spirit, and that doesn't mean you've got your what would Jesus do and your cross, and you're trying to honor the Lord in your life. People may not necessarily even know you're a believer, but you're going to sometimes just run against this resistance because they're going that way and you're going that way. And we need to be careful to get angry in those situations. Instead, recognize there's a war going on, right? There is a war, and I'm not supposed to battle against flesh and blood. I'm not supposed to be getting mad at them. I'm supposed to be recognizing that there's a spiritual battle going on. And I need to fight not against them. I need to fight for them. And a lot of times that's going to be on your knees. I'm fighting for them. I'm praying for them. And they're being mean. That's what pray for your enemy it looks like. They're going after your job. They're spreading things about your character. They're doing all sorts of things. And you're praying for them. Should be. That's what we should be doing. That's what fighting for them looks like, rather than fighting with them. And so that may look, there might be not anything you can do with that relationship other than pray. But make sure you're doing that praying. Make sure you are reaching up to the Father on their behalf and saying, Lord, would you open their eyes? Would you bless them? Would you encourage them? Would you help them to see you and their need for you? You never know. The Lord may open up an opportunity there. When your heart is right with that situation, where you're really seeing them with His eyes, not with this defensiveness, when you're seeing Him with His eyes, the Lord might open a door there to actually use you in their life. You may not, but be ready. But you got to be ready. And if your heart's not ready, if you're not praying, your heart's probably not ready yet. Luke 6:27-28. But I say to you who hear. Remember that. But I say to you who hear. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. And pray for those who spitefully use you. That's easy, amen? Not easy. It is not easy. There's room for grace there. And there's room, if you've messed it up with somebody who doesn't know the Lord, and there's a testimony in itself, just going to them, and man, I'm sorry. I didn't want to do this to you, and I'm sorry that I did this to you. Not, well, you did this to me, and so I did this to you, and so you do. No, just apologize for your side of it. Man, I'm sorry that I did this. Can you forgive me? It doesn't have to be, Jesus told me to come to you, and you're not trying to spiritualize yourself up to exalt yourself in your holiness. It's just simply, I don't want to be like that. I'm sorry. Can you forgive me for doing that to you? Make sense? Amen.